Well, hi, everybody. Kim Winter again from Logistics Executive Group. Thanks for joining us. Joined by a very special guest today. This young lady is a native of the United States and from a town that I've actually been to many, many years ago, which we'll talk about. But she is a very well-known media personality right across the logistics and supply chain sector here in the Middle East. She's got a whole raft of very impressive roles behind her, both from event management and media right across the spectrum in the US and here. And it is my great pleasure to introduce Lindsey Alba. Hey, Lindsey, how you doing?
Hi, Kim. Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much. And thanks for joining us. And I know you've got a busy day on because you've got a number of events that you're working on at the moment. But look, we always like our guests to give us a bit of a heads up on their background, their upbringing. And as I said, you come from a very famous place in Washington called Spokane in the state of Washington.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thanks so much for having me and for that lovely introduction. As you mentioned, I come from Spokane, Washington, a little town in eastern Washington, and kind of came up professionally through an event marketing background, which led me kind of around the world and to Dubai. And studied my MBA here, and with the event management, it kind of shaped itself into project management, which lent itself to a role with a distributing company where I kind of fell in love and was piqued with the logistics bug, and just kind of found it really fascinating, and ended up getting a chance to work for a logistics company in business development. That's where I kind of cut my teeth in the industry, if you will, and learned more about the operations behind it. And that was prior to COVID, prior to anyone really celebrating or looking at logistics too intensely. And then COVID hit and that role sort of changed. And I found myself really missing kind of the creative aspects that my previous jobs had. And ITP ended up welcoming me into their arms to run the logistics publication and the aviation publication here, which kind of allows me to still be in the world of logistics, but do creative events, which I mentioned came through, and then also to really be client facing and connect with my clients and network. And so that's how I ended up here.
Right. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. And ITP Media is, I think, the largest media house and longest standing media house here in the Gulf region.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. And about 30 years.
Yeah, I think you guys have got, over 20, 30 titles and magazines online and physical magazines?
Yeah, and definitely everyone's heard of the big ones for sure. I think, Arabian Business, Harper's Bazaar, Time Out, and then we have our whole B2B sector as well, which is more niche, but also really a staple for many industries like construction, as well as aviation and logistics.
Awesome. And you've got a major event coming up soon, which we'd like to hear about. And we're putting a link down here as people can see to register for this event. It's going to be very exciting. Tell us about the latest event that's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two exciting events coming up, which I'll just briefly mention. Aviation Business Awards are coming up November 23rd, and this is really a chance to celebrate the trials and tribulations that the industry has gone through the past year and a half, to come together for a night of celebration and to network. And it's been a really rough year and a half and going on 2 years, but the industry is coming back, and we want to celebrate that and party with everyone. So please, check out the link and nominate your company. We still have a lot of nominations open, but nominations are closing soon. If you're interested in getting more involved in having some visibility there, I'd love to discuss that and how we can collaborate as well. And then just mark your calendars for December. We have a Leaders in Logistics Summit, and more details on that will follow, but that'll be a very educational one. So keep those in mind.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsey. And of course, the Middle East, or the UAE in particular, is a real significant hub for all sorts of logistics and transport, really being at equidistant between Europe, Africa, and Asia. A little bit further to places like Australia or America, but probably 2/3 of the world's population within about 6 or 7 hours flight. So aviation has always been a massive, massive factor in the economy here in the UAE. And as you say, it's been tough going since COVID, with a lot of the big airlines around the world. In fact, most of them having to really downsize. But we're seeing a massive uptick here at the moment. Borders are open. As we know, the UAE has been a world leader in getting the folks vaccinated around here. Everybody's on there almost to their booster stage now, and the borders are wide open. So we're seeing a big uptick. I think accommodation, hospitality is running about 95%. We've got the expo here, of course, so a very exciting place to be. The events that you folks put on are always extremely well attended. Is there a ceiling on this year's event for the Aviation Awards, and should people need to get in early?
Definitely get in early. And yes, there's a ceiling. I believe our previous events were capped at 150. I think that ceiling has risen slightly. We, went from only 4 per table. Now we can have 10 per table. So as you can imagine, that's a big jump. We will still be practicing, social distancing in the public areas and masks outside your table. But yeah, definitely get in early. Not as many seats as the previous years, but more than, 4 months ago. And we really, are looking forward to a great event. I think it's the first aviation event that ITP has put on in 2021. And it's just, I think the industry is ready to reconnect and regroup. So I think it'll be a big one.
Well, I can certainly vouch for the quality of the events that you folks at ITP put on. I've been involved as you know, with a number of those events in various capacities, and always awesome. And I think you put on the last year was the first face-to-face event in Dubai since COVID, if I remember correctly.
Yes. I think we hosted some of the very first events in Dubai. Definitely some of the first face-to-face logistics events with our awards, and then followed up by the Cold Chain Summit. So and most recently an Innovation and Logistics and Transportation Summit. So we've been doing this for a while now. We're used to it, and we're happy to, provide a space for everyone to come together. So it's really been a pleasure to do so.
Yeah, really good, really slick operations, and I've really always enjoyed. And the food is sensational, I must say. Yeah, always put on a good
top
spread.
Priority.
No doubt about that. Yeah, people are well fed, and lots of networking now as well, which is very important.
Definitely.
Hey, just before I let you go, I know you've got another meeting to go to, but, you're a bit of a trailblazer. You've got a very strong profile here in the Gulf, one of the leaders in logistics and one of the women in leadership here, in fact. So you've forged a great trail here. Before I let you go, maybe you can just share a couple of insights with us for young women from the region or anywhere really around the world wanting to break into either media or the logistics and supply chain sector. Any gems of wisdom that you could leave some of our followers with?
Yeah, I think it goes without saying how important your networks are, but really these, the ITP as well as my logistics jobs was all my networks. So never burn your bridges. You never know who can help you, who can support you, and be willing to do the same for others. I think what goes around really comes around. And when you help someone out, eventually it'll come back to you. And I've been really fortunate to make a really great network. And even if it doesn't benefit you right now, definitely down the line it will. And especially in a region like, or an area like Dubai, it's very small. We're very close knit actually. So always protect those relationships and value them, I think will get you far.
Certainly. And then that resonates to the narrative of a very good colleague and friend of mine who is one of the principals of Supply Chain Now, who are the online gurus for logistics and supply chain, Scott Luton, who often quotes at the end of his sessions in the narrative of pay it forward, do good, and be the change that needs to be. So with those words, Lindsey, always a pleasure to talk to you. You do a great job. Continue blazing the trail that you do here in the Gulf, and really look forward to catching up with you at the Aviation Awards, which are when? Again, give us another plug.
November 23rd. Yeah.
Good on you. Thanks, Lindsey. We'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Kim. All right, talk soon.
Take care.